ladies and gentlemen, let me start with a question. Have you ever looked at someone's success and thought to yourself, how in the world did they do it so fast? Maybe you saw a colleague climb the ladder of success in record time, or a friend who turned their life around so quickly it left you wondering if they discovered some hidden formula. Well, let me tell you something. It's not luck, it's not magic, and it's not reserved for a chosen few. It's about rules. Simple, practical, powerful rules. And if you follow them, you too can achieve success faster than you ever thought possible. Now, success leaves clues. And what I want to give you today are 6 of those clues. Not theories, not wishes, just tested principles that have worked for centuries. Let's walk through them one by one. You know, one of the biggest reasons people struggle in life isn't because they don't have talent. It's not because they don't have opportunity. And it's not even because they're not working hard. The real reason many people never reach the success they dream of is very simple. They never decided what they really wanted in the first place. They wake up, go through the motions, get busy, and at the end of the week they say, "Boy, I was busy." And I say, "Yes, but busy doing what?" Being busy doesn't mean being productive. You can run really fast, but if you're running in the wrong direction, all that speed is wasted effort. Clarity is where it begins. Think about it. If you get into your car and just start driving with no destination, where will you end up? Anywhere, and most likely nowhere you intended to go. But if you type an exact address into your GPS, suddenly every turn, every detour, every stoplight has meaning. Life works the same way. Without a clear target, your efforts get scattered. With a target, every step you take has purpose. The problem is, most people never take the time to decide. They say things like, "I want to be successful." That sounds good, but what does it mean? Success in what? Success looks different to different people. For one person, it's building $1 million business. For another, it's raising children with good values. For another, it's staying healthy and vibrant well into old age. Until you define it, how will you know if you've reached it? You see, vague goals produce vague results. I once heard someone say, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. Isn't that true? The world is full of people who'd love for you to work on their goals. Companies, organizations, even individuals, they all have a plan. If you don't set yours, you'll become a tool in theirs. And when it's all said and done, you'll look back and realize you climbed a ladder for 40 years, only to find it was leaning against the wrong wall. Now, here's something practical. Don't just think about your goals. Write them down. There's something almost magical about the act of writing. It makes the vague clear, the invisible visible. If you say, "I'd like to make more money this year," and I hand you $1, technically, your wish came true. You said more, and you got more. But if you say, "I want to earn 100,000 this year by building my sales business," now we're getting somewhere. That's specific. That's measurable. And once it's written, it becomes a reminder every single day. Clarity also gives you power when decisions come. You see, life is full of choices, some easy, some hard. And the hardest ones are the ones that look good, but don't align with your true purpose. If you don't know where you're going, you'll say yes to everything. But when you have clarity, you can say no with confidence. Does this opportunity take me closer to my goal, or does it distract me? That's the question clarity allows you to ask. And let me add this, don't be afraid to dream big when setting those goals. Most people aim too low. The tragedy is not that they missed the target, but that they hit a target that wasn't worth hitting. Imagine a person who says, my goal is to just get by. And sure enough, they succeed, they just get by. That's not living, that's surviving. If you're going to set goals, set them high enough to challenge you, to stretch you, to make you become more in the process of reaching them. But also, make them realistic enough that you can believe in them. A goal too far out of reach doesn't inspire, it discourages. The key is balance, dream big, but ground those dreams in actionable steps. You don't climb a mountain by leaping to the top. You climb it one step at a time with the summit clearly in mind. And here's the beauty of clarity. It creates focus. Focus creates energy. And energy, consistently applied, creates results. That's why the person with a clear goal will always outpace the person with talent, but no direction. Talent without focus is like a lamp without a bulb. Potential with no light. But clarity turns on the switch, and suddenly, everything shines. So, the starting point is simple. Decide what you want. Don't leave it to chance. Don't let the winds of circumstance decide for you. Pick up a pen, write it down, and say, this is it. This is where I'm going. Because once you do, the world has a way of moving things in your favor. Opportunities appear, people show up, resources come into view. It's as if the universe itself steps aside to let you pass, but it only happens for the person who is clear. You know, people often tell me, I just need a little more motivation. And I say, no, you don't. What you really need is discipline. Because here's the truth. Motivation is great, it feels good, it can fire you up, but it doesn't last. Have you ever gone to a seminar, left feeling like you could conquer the world, only to find that 3 days later you're back to your old habits? That's motivation. It's a spark. It gets you started. But discipline, that's the firewood that keeps the flame burning. Without it, the spark dies. Discipline is the difference between a wish and a plan. Everybody wishes they were in better shape. Everybody wishes they had more money. Everybody wishes they had better relationships. But wishing doesn't change anything. Discipline does. Discipline is when you say, I'm going to do what I need to do, whether I feel like it or not. Because let's be honest, you won't always feel like it. Some mornings you'll want to sleep in. Some evenings you'll want to skip the workout. Some days you won't want to make that phone call. Motivation won't carry you through those moments, but discipline will. Think about the farmer. He doesn't get up every morning at 5 a.m. because he feels like it. He does it because the crops won't wait. The soil won't plant itself. Nature runs on discipline, and if he wants a harvest, he has to follow the laws of sowing and reaping. Life works the same way. If you want a harvest of success, you must plant seeds every day, whether you feel like planting or not. Now, discipline is not complicated. It's just a choice to do the simple things that lead to success. But here's the catch. What's easy to do is also easy not to do. Reading 10 pages of a book is easy. It's also easy not to. Eating an apple a day is easy. It's also easy not to. Saving 10% of your income is easy. It's also easy not to. That's the challenge of discipline. The little things that seem insignificant in the moment add up over time. The question is, which way are they adding up for you or against you? I once heard someone say, discipline weighs ounces, regret weighs tons. Isn't that true? Skipping one workout doesn't hurt much. Spending $1 you should have saved doesn't seem like a big deal. But those small, undisciplined choices, stacked one on top of another, turn into years of lost opportunity. And then one day you wake up and realize the price of regret is far heavier than the price of discipline would have been. The beautiful thing is discipline compounds. Just like money in the bank, it grows. The first day you wake up early, it's hard. The first time you say no to dessert, it stings. The first time you push through a task when you're tired, it feels uncomfortable. But every time you exercise discipline, you strengthen it. And pretty soon, what was once hard becomes easy, and what was once a struggle becomes second nature. That's the reward of practice. And let's not forget, discipline builds self-respect. When you keep a promise to yourself, you build trust with yourself. Think about it. How do you feel when you set a goal, but you don't follow through? You feel disappointed, don't you? You lose a little confidence in your own word. But when you say, I'm going to do this, and then you actually do it, you walk taller. You carry yourself differently. Because deep down, you know you can rely on you. That's a powerful feeling. Now, I don't want you to think discipline means no joy. It's not about becoming rigid or living like a robot. In fact, discipline creates freedom because when you're disciplined with your money, you have the freedom to travel, to invest, to give. When you're disciplined with your health, you have the freedom to move, to live without pain, to enjoy life. When you're disciplined with your time, you have the freedom to focus on what matters most. Discipline is the tool that creates options. Without it, life gets smaller and smaller. So the question isn't, how do I stay motivated? The real question is, how do I build the habit of discipline? And the answer is simple. Start small. Don't try to change everything overnight. Pick one thing, one small daily discipline. Do it consistently until it becomes part of you. Then add another. Over time, those little disciplines will stack up and create a life of extraordinary results. That's the secret. Not motivation. Not luck. Not waiting for the perfect moment. It's the daily, deliberate choice to do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. That's the path to real success. One of the smartest decisions a person can ever make is to learn from someone who's already walked the path they want to walk. Think about it. Why spend 10 years figuring something out the hard way when you could spend 10 minutes learning it from someone who already knows? Life is too short to reinvent every wheel. If someone has already paid the price, why not borrow their wisdom? Why not study their mistakes so you don't have to repeat them and learn their strategies so you can move forward faster? Most people underestimate the value of a good model. They think, well, I'll figure it out as I go. And sure, you'll figure some things out. But it's going to cost you time, energy, maybe even money you didn't need to lose. A mentor shortens the learning curve. They collapse time. They give you the benefit of experience you haven't yet lived, and they offer a perspective you can't see from where you're standing. Now, don't misunderstand. A mentor won't do the work for you. They won't hand you success on a silver platter. But what they can give you is guidance. Guidance that can save you from wandering in circles. Guidance that can point you toward what works and away from what doesn't. That's worth its weight in gold. Think about how we learn as children. When you were a kid, you didn't just wake up one day knowing how to tie your shoes. Somebody showed you. Somebody modeled it for you, step by step. When you learned to write your name, it wasn't trial and error for years. You watched, you copied, you practiced. Why then, as adults, Do we forget that the fastest way to learn is still the same? Watch someone who's already mastered it, and then practice until you've got it. And here's the truth. Mentors aren't always people you meet in person. They can be authors whose books you read, speakers whose recordings you listen to, entrepreneurs whose biographies you study. You don't need a personal lunch with a billionaire to learn from him. His story, his principles, his decisions, they're already available for you to study if you're willing to put in the time. In today's world, you can learn from the greatest minds of history without ever leaving your living room. That's an incredible advantage if you use it. But here's the key. You must be teachable. You must have the humility to admit you don't know it all. Too many people let their pride get in the way. They think asking for help is weakness. No, it's wisdom. It's strength. It takes courage to say, I don't know. Show me. Because the moment you become teachable, doors begin to open. You see opportunities you didn't see before. You hear lessons you would have missed. Another important thing, choose your mentors wisely. Don't take advice from just anyone. Everybody's got an opinion, but not everybody's opinion is valuable. If you're looking for financial advice, don't ask your broke uncle. If you're looking for health advice, don't ask the guy who hasn't exercised in 20 years. Look for people who have fruit on the tree. Results. Credibility, they don't need to be perfect, but they need to have walked the road you want to walk. And remember, a mentor is not there to flatter you. A real mentor will tell you the truth, even when it stings. They'll challenge your excuses. They'll push you to stretch. They'll ask you to raise your standards. Sometimes it won't feel good in the moment, but in the long run, you'll thank them. Because the correction you receive today could save you years of frustration tomorrow. Let me also add this, mentorship is not a one-time event, it's a lifestyle. Keep learning. Keep seeking out people you can learn from, because every stage of life requires new wisdom. The person who taught you how to get started may not be the one who shows you how to scale. The one who guided you through your career may not be the one who teaches you about family or legacy. Stay open. Stay hungry. The more you grow, the more mentors you'll need along the way. In fact, some of the greatest mentors you'll ever have are not people you meet, but people you observe. Watch how successful people live. Notice how they use their time, how they treat others, how they make decisions. Success leaves clues. And if you're willing to study those clues, you can piece together the habits that create extraordinary lives. So, don't try to do it all alone. Find models worth following. Listen, read, watch, observe. Borrow wisdom. Save yourself the wasted years of trial and error. If someone has already drawn the map, all you have to do is follow it. One of the greatest secrets to success is not found in what you do once in a while, but in what you do consistently. Anybody can work hard for a day. Anybody can be disciplined for a week. But the rewards in life don't come from temporary effort. They come from steady effort repeated over time. Consistency is what takes an ordinary action and turns it into an extraordinary result. Think about it this way. Brushing your teeth once doesn't give you a healthy smile. Going to the gym one time doesn't make you strong. Reading one book won't make you wise. But if you brush your teeth every day, if you exercise 3 or 4 times a week, if you read for 30 minutes a day, suddenly the years pass and people look at you and wonder, how did you get so disciplined? How did you get so successful? The truth is, you just stayed consistent with the little things. The problem is, little things don't feel very powerful in the moment. One push up doesn't make a difference. One salad doesn't change your health. 1 hour of studying doesn't transform your career. So people think, what's the use? It doesn't matter if I skip today. But it does matter, because consistency is not about one day. It's about all the days added together. Every choice you make is like a vote for the person you are becoming. You've heard the saying, Rome wasn't built in a day. That's true, but it also wasn't destroyed in a day. Success and failure are not single events. They are the accumulation of small, daily decisions. If you eat a donut today, you won't get sick. If you eat a donut every day for 10 years, you will. If you save $1 today, you won't get rich. If you save $1 every day for 30 years, you will. That's the power of consistency. It multiplies over time. Now, here's what's fascinating. Inconsistency can look like consistency in disguise. Let me explain. Somebody works hard for a week, then disappears for a month. Then they show up again for 2 days, then quit for 3 weeks. From a distance, it looks like effort. But without consistency, it never compounds. It's like planting seeds and then digging them up every few days to check if they're growing. The seeds need time, and they need consistency. Consistency also builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you consistently follow through, you prove to yourself that your word matters. You begin to believe in your own promises. That builds confidence. And when you're consistent with others, whether in your work, your relationships, or your commitments, they know they can count on you. Reliability is one of the greatest assets you can have, and it's built through consistency. Now, let's be honest. Consistency isn't always exciting. In fact, it can feel boring. Success is often hidden in routine. Waking up early, practicing your craft, making those calls, studying, exercising, most of the time it doesn't feel glamorous. But consistency turns ordinary routines into extraordinary achievements. The champions you admire, the experts you respect, the leaders you look up to. They didn't get there by doing something dramatic one time. They got there by doing something consistent many times. And here's a little secret: consistency creates momentum. At first, it feels like pushing a heavy rock uphill. Hard, slow, frustrating. But if you keep pushing, the rock starts to move. Then it gathers speed. Soon, it's rolling downhill, and your job is simply to keep up with it. That's the magic of momentum. It's born from consistency. And once you have it, success starts to feel easier, even though the effort is the same. But here's the challenge. Consistency requires patience. Most people quit too soon. They plant the seed, but don't wait for the harvest. They go to the gym for a week, don't see results, and give up. They try saving money for a month, don't feel richer, and stop. What they don't realize is that consistency works in the invisible before it shows up in the visible. The results are growing underground, out of sight, until one day they burst through for everyone to see. The key is to trust the process. Trust that if you show up every day, the results will come. Not overnight, but over time. The truth is, consistency isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. When you commit to daily disciplines, you build character. You build resilience. You build habits that carry you further than talent or luck ever could. So, success isn't about doing something big once. It's about doing something small consistently, because consistency turns little steps into big leaps, little efforts into great achievements, and little habits into lifelong success. If you want life to change, you've got to change. If you want things to get better, You've got to get better. It doesn't happen the other way around. Too many people wait for circumstances to improve before they improve themselves. They wait for the economy to shift, for their boss to recognize them, for opportunities to magically appear. But here's the truth. Opportunity rarely shows up until you've prepared yourself to receive it. Growth comes first. Rewards come later. Think about it. If someone handed you $1 million today, would you know what to do with it? Some people think the money would solve all their problems. But the truth is, without personal growth, money only magnifies problems. If you're careless with $100, you'll be careless with $1 million. If you don't have the discipline to manage a little, you won't suddenly gain discipline when you have a lot. Wealth doesn't make you wise. Wisdom makes you wealthy. That's why you've got to work harder on yourself than on your job. Now, working on yourself means developing skills, building character, expanding knowledge. It means reading books that challenge you, listening to ideas that stretch your thinking, associating with people who inspire you. The more you grow, the more valuable you become. And the marketplace pays for value. That's why two people can work the same job in the same company, but earn completely different incomes. One has invested in personal growth, sharpened their skills, and become indispensable. The other stayed the same. Same hours, same company, but different value. And here's what's important. Growth doesn't happen by accident. You don't stumble into wisdom. You don't wake up one day suddenly fit, wealthy, and full of knowledge. Growth is intentional. You have to decide, I'm going to invest in myself. It might mean reading a book instead of watching television. It might mean attending a seminar instead of sleeping in. It might mean saving money for education instead of spending it on entertainment. Growth always requires trade-offs. But those small sacrifices today bring big dividends tomorrow. Some people say, well, I can't afford to invest in myself. My question is, can you afford not to? Ignorance is more expensive than education. Neglect costs more than discipline. A single idea, a single piece of knowledge, a single skill could be worth thousands, even millions over your lifetime. Imagine passing up the chance to learn because it seemed inconvenient or too costly in the moment. That's like refusing to plant seeds in the spring and then being surprised when there's no harvest in the fall. Here's another thing. Personal growth isn't just about money. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle success. Success without growth leads to downfall. You've seen it. Someone gets promoted too fast, and the position crushes them because they weren't prepared. Someone wins the lottery, and within a few years, they're broke again. The problem wasn't the opportunity. It was the lack of growth. Growth builds the foundation strong enough to hold the weight of success. And remember, growth takes time. You won't become wise by reading one book, just like you won't get fit from one workout. But if you read for 30 minutes every day, if you exercise a little every day, if you practice your skills every day, the compound effect will transform you. Consistency in personal growth turns you into a completely different person over the years. One day, people will look at you and say, how did you get so confident, so capable, so successful? And you'll know it was daily growth, day after day, year after year. Growth also changes the way you see the world. The problems that once seemed overwhelming shrink as you grow bigger. A challenge that used to paralyze you becomes manageable. It's not that life gets easier. It's that you get stronger. Just like lifting weights at the gym. The weight doesn't get lighter, but you get stronger, and suddenly What once was impossible becomes routine. That's the power of growth. So the question is not, what am I getting? The real question is, what am I becoming? Because what you become determines what you can handle, what you can create, and what you can give. If you want more, become more. If you want to change your life, change yourself. Growth is the seed that produces every harvest of success. One of the most powerful influences in your life is the people you choose to spend time with. Whether you realize it or not, the people around you are shaping your thoughts, your habits, your values, and even your future. You can't help it. That's how human beings work. We pick up attitudes, language, and behavior from those we associate with. The question is, are the people around you lifting you higher or pulling you down? It's been said, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, think about that for a moment. If those 5 people are broke, negative, and unmotivated, where does that leave you? But if those 5 people are ambitious, disciplined, and optimistic, guess what? You'll rise to their level. Association is contagious. Attitudes are contagious. Habits are contagious. You've got to ask yourself, what am I catching from the people around me? Here's the challenge. Sometimes the people we spend the most time with aren't the people we should be learning from. Maybe they're old friends, maybe they're family, maybe they've been in your circle for years. And while you care about them, if their habits are holding you back, you have to make some tough choices. You don't have to cut people off completely, but you might need to limit your exposure. Because if you hang around complainers long enough, you'll start to complain. If you hang around procrastinators long enough, you'll start to procrastinate. We become what we consistently see and hear. But here's the good news, the opposite is also true. If you start spending time with people who are disciplined, you'll become more disciplined. If you spend time with people who are ambitious, you'll catch their ambition. If you spend time with people who are grateful, their gratitude will rub off on you. That's the beauty of the right associations. They lift you, they inspire you, they challenge you to be better. So ask yourself, who do I admire? Who has the qualities I want in my own life? Those are the people you should be spending time with. It might be a successful business owner, a community leader, a coach, or simply a friend who has strong character and a positive attitude. The point is, find people who are ahead of you in some area of life and spend time with them. Let their example pull you forward. Now, not all associations are created equal. Some people you should spend major time with. These are your role models, your mentors, your closest friends, the ones who inspire you to reach higher. Others you spend minor time with. Maybe they're fun to be around, but they don't add much to your growth. And some, unfortunately, you may need to disassociate from altogether. That doesn't mean you don't love them. It just means you value your future enough to protect it. Think of it like this. If you want to stay healthy, you watch what you eat. You don't eat junk food all day and expect to feel good. In the same way, if you want to stay mentally and emotionally healthy, you've got to watch what you feed your mind. And one of the biggest sources of mental nutrition is the people around you. If you're constantly consuming negativity, gossip, and excuses, it's like feeding your mind junk food. But if you're surrounding yourself with positivity, encouragement, and wisdom, it's like feeding your mind a healthy diet. Another important point, association isn't just about people in your personal life. In today's world, it includes the voices you allow into your head, the podcasts you listen to, The videos you watch, the books you read, the music you play, all of these are forms of association. They're shaping your mindset, your mood, your beliefs. So even if you don't have access to certain people in person, you can still associate with them through their work. You can spend time with great thinkers, great leaders, great minds simply by consuming what they've created. And remember, association works both ways. Just as others influence you, you influence them. That means your growth can inspire your circle. Your discipline can spark someone else's discipline. Your optimism can brighten someone else's perspective. By becoming better, you raise the standard for everyone around you. So take a close look at your circle. Ask yourself, are these people helping me become the person I want to be? If the answer is yes, invest more time with them. If the answer is no, it may be time to make some adjustments. Because in the end, your associations will either accelerate your success or slow it down. Choose wisely, because your future is too important to leave in the wrong hands. So, we've walked through 6 powerful rules. Clarity of goals, discipline over motivation, learning from mentors, the power of consistency, the commitment to personal growth, and surrounding yourself with the right people. None of them are complicated. None of them require magic, but all of them require choice. Success is not something you chase. It's something you attract by becoming a certain kind of person. And these rules are the tools that shape you into that person. They're the disciplines that turn potential into performance and performance into results. Think about it. If you get clear on what you want, discipline yourself to follow through, learn from those who've already paved the way, stay consistent with your actions, commit to growing every day, and build a circle that lifts you higher, how could you not succeed? It may not happen overnight, but it will happen over time. That's a promise life keeps. The truth is, everybody ends up somewhere. The question is, are you going to end up somewhere on purpose or by accident? These 6 rules give you the power to decide. They give you the power to not just drift through life, but to direct it, to take control of the sail instead of waiting for the wind. And here's the best part. You don't have to master them all at once. Start where you are. Pick one rule, put it into practice, and watch what happens. Then add another. Over time, they will build on each other until you look back one day and realize you've created a life far beyond what you once thought possible. So don't wait for tomorrow or next week or next year. Success doesn't start when the timing is perfect. It starts when you decide. Decide to be clear. Decide to be disciplined. Decide to learn. Decide to stay consistent. Decide to grow. Decide to choose your associations wisely. Decide today, because your future is waiting, and these rules are the keys to unlock it